Joining us once again, this time to tell us more about what we just saw. We've got Diablo's GM Rod Ferguson, and please welcome Diablo Immortal's executive producer, Pei Wen Yao.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us, Pei Wen.
Thanks for having me.
What the hell was that all about? Are you kidding me? That's got huge implications for the lore of Diablo because you're bringing him back.
Yeah, well,
Tell me about this.
I mean, it's a thing that I don't think everybody really knows what Diablo Immortal is, really. So let's start with there.
Okay, fair.
Like, I think Diablo Immortal, the way to think about Diablo Immortal is our free-to-play offering in Diablo. It's a way to bring more players in. We wanted to go where the players are, and we were like, okay, not everybody is part of the mainline Diablo 4 world. So this is a way to reach players where they are. And so we have this great free-to-play, huge campaign, over 11 zones. You get 8 classes. We just added 2 over the last 2 years.
Best class.
The best, yes.
The best class.
With
Okay.
the Blood Knight and the Tempest, our new classes. And so it's really an exciting time. And so the story, the campaign, which is, again, over these 11 zones, is basically you're working with Deckard Cain to beat this demon Skarn. Now, what's happened is that this takes place between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. So that's why Deckard Cain's still alive, and we're able to bring Diablo back. So it's a really exciting time, and this is what this whole year has been leading up to. This is the year of the Age of Unmaking. This is the return of Diablo, and they've been building towards it for like over the last couple of years now.
Yeah, totally. I think, you can tell Diablo is very, very major character in the Diablo franchise, and we have that on our splash screen all the time. So I don't know if it's a plan, but this is truly the most important chapter of the story, that where it starts. And Diablo is very, very significant because it's one of the original antagonists. It's one of the 3 primevals. So I think in the history of Diablo story, Diablo world is Diablo has this reputation of corrupting people's minds, corrupting humanity, and twist people's minds. So when it comes down to the word, that means something is really going down.
So what does that mean for the people who are here at Gamescom? Do they get to experience that now, or what experience have you brought for them on the booth?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, we're really honored to be here at Gamescom. Like Rod mentioned, Diablo Immortal is our first take of mobile version of Diablo world, on the phone, on the small phone. So our mission is to reach more audience, and that's why we come here at Gamescom. Today we brought into a beautiful booth right here.
That's great.
Yeah, this is one of the most important content and gameplay in our game called the Heliquary Boss. So Heliquary Boss in our game is basically, it represents your power. It represents your power progression because all those bosses are your power gates. You have to beat them in order to get to the next difficulty level. So as you go through the game, you will feel you're getting stronger, and you're going to more difficulty level. You get more stuff, the loot and the dungeon and the zoom. Most important thing about Diablo Immortal is that we want to create this social, very sociable, very lifestyle kind of gameplay. So for Heliquary Boss, you can actually you can either play a solo, or you can bring your friends over there. And that's what we bring here. We built a tournament that 4 players come in to the booth and they can play, and you can just rank on the leaderboard and get awesome rewards.
Yeah, you have to beat 2 bosses, so there's like the 2 phases. You have to beat 2 bosses, and right now the fastest is about 2 minutes 45 to get through.
Think I got a shot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
No, I know you play a lot. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's right.
But anybody can do it. But it's really interesting, like that what Pei Wen is talking about. There's been over 50 bosses made in this sort of these Heliquary bosses, and it's really exciting to see. It's part of the progression. So it's always fun to have these new and interesting and different types of fights to have. And the fact that it's on mobile, but also on PC, like you can play free to play on PC today, and it's a great experience.
So players at home can also still experience the Heliquary bosses right now, or is
yeah,
same
right now.
content, same game, and cross progression, cross play.
So tell me about then the build up to Diablo's return. What can players expect to? What kind of content can they get into right now and in the lead up to that content dropping?
Yeah, so next few months is going to be, like I said, it's going to be the most exciting story chapter of Diablo Immortal. It's going to divide into, like the main quest line, the storyline is going to divide into 2 parts. So we're going to keep some in the future, but the latest one that is going to come up is in September. It's a release we call it Crucible of Justice. This is where the story, we're going to review a very, very powerful weapon. It's called the Eldrim. It's a holy sword. And the player is going to go through the mission, the quest of purify that sword, and that sword is the secret weapon to kill Diablo. So you have to find the sword and purify it, goes through the ritual. And for player, the ritual, I think if you play Diablo Immortal, player is the hero. You play the hero, you save the sanctuary, you save the humanity, but the sanctuary is corrupted, it's dark, and that darkness casts into players as well. So the ritual of purifying this Eldrim is actually a symbolic move of player that they willing to sacrifice themselves for the humanity, and that they want to prove themselves to be worthy to use the Eldrim, the holy sword, to kill Diablo. So that is the first part of the September release, and then we're gonna save the second part to the December, our holiday time, and we're gonna release the second part, which is the most exciting part, that you're finally gonna face the Diablo. And with the Diablo boss itself, we also introduce a amazing zone. It's called the War's Crown. Zone is one of our very, very important content in the game as well. It's beautifully designed. Not traditional concept of beautiful, but it's...
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard the word skin used so many times. I'm a little concerned, but I'll trust you guys.
It fits the word. It's beautifully designed. It's very dedicatedly, created. And it's icy, it's barren. And it's that way is because Diablo travels through that continent and transforms the place. So it's like very depressing, all the cast coming down to the earth. Well, that's why, players are here to save the world. And when player travels through this War's Crown, you're gonna encounter a lot of enemies. You're gonna defeat them. Eventually, you're gonna encounter Diablo as the final boss.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tyrael. Like Tyrael is like, when you think about like recognizable characters in the Diablo lore, Tyrael, the Angel of Justice, is one of the top ones. And so this is what's really neat about the story, is that it takes Tyrael's sword, Eldruin, and that's the sword you have to use to defeat Diablo. And so that whole idea of, hey, while I've been fighting Skarn and getting these World Stone shards, I've become corrupted and I have to get purified over in the Cold Isles so that I can actually be worthy of this sword. And taking that sword and then being able to use it against Diablo is just a really cool moment.
I mean, you said in the video as well that this fight with Diablo will be the toughest fight players have ever... I mean, is that true? What are you possibly throwing at us? Because you also just showed us like a 20-foot butcher. So, what's Diablo? What's he going to do to us? Anything you can share there?
Yeah. Oh well, I'm gonna see how much I'm gonna spoil here, but Diablo boss is going to be the hardest one that the player gonna encounter, because Diablo is such a classic character. So we still take a lot of the classic skills from Diablo. So it's still featuring fire, lightning. So if you go to the battle, have some equipment, have some gears that with the fire and lightning resistance will be helpful.
I remember.
And because you bring the Eldrim to the battle, right? So when Diablo calls all his Diablo soldiers, and they will swarm over to you, and you have to beat them really, really fast. And that beat up of those enemies actually gonna recharge your Eldrim. It's gonna make the Eldrim ready to, make it good use. So and by the end, hint, the real end.
Oh, come on.
The real end, you're gonna see this beautiful cinematics. It shows how player take Eldrim and eventually kill the Diablo. So.
That's all so exciting. I can't wait to... Well, I'm going to have to go and set a time on the booth to make sure I get a chance at that leaderboard. But I want to thank you both.
So we have the Inarius statue, the really big one that's the size of the
Yeah, man.
I want it.
Yeah, you're going to fight me for it. I'm taking it.
I can't. They're gonna kick me
That's
out.
what we're doing straight afterwards. We're all going down, and I'm going to come out on top, all right? Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Gamescom as well. Coming up, though, the team from Stalker 2 is here with the latest from the sequel, Heart of Chernobyl. Sick. Plus, we've also got a look at the newest Xbox accessories that are enabling players everywhere to play the way that they want. And later on, we're going to explore the newest Starfield expansion, Shattered Space, and find out why fans everywhere are setting aside gigs of space to explore even more of this epic open world. But first, do you know what's great? Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, take a look at this.